Right-wing conspiracist Alex Jones has built an entire empire spreading filth. He's lied all over the internet and on TV and radio about vaccine conspiracy theories. He's spread lies about the election. He's hurt a lot of people. And in case you don't spend much of your time trolling the bowels of the internet, we're talking about this guy. He's the host of a web show called InfoWars. And for years, he's been telling his viewers that many of the horrific mass shootings and human disasters that have plagued this country are all fake. The 2012 Aurora, Colorado movie theater massacre that killed 12 people, fake. The shooting at a Sandy Hook elementary school that killed 20 first graders and 6 teachers, fake. But now it seems that Jones may finally have to pay the piper. After losing defamation and libel cases in Texas and Connecticut, the host of InfoWars has been ordered to pay more than $1 billion in damages to Sandy Hook families. On Wednesday, a court ordered Jones and his company to pay $965 million in damages to families of 8 Sandy Hook victims and an FBI officer. Back in August, Jones was ordered to pay over $45 million to a Sandy Hook family in a Texas court. One of the people who sued Alex Jones for the lies he told is this woman, Nicole Hockley. Hockley's 6-year-old son, Dylan, was killed in the deadly Sandy Hook massacre. And during the trial, Nicole testified that she keeps knives and a baseball bat by her bed because she fears being attacked due to the ongoing harassment that she receives from Jones's followers. On Wednesday, the judge said Jones would need to pay Hockley more than $70 million in damages.
B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $41,600,000. Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Nicole Hockley and against Alex Jones at Free Speech Systems at line A and line B, $73,600,000. Initialed by plaintiff, initialed by juror number 1.
After Dylan's murder, Nicole helped launch Sandy Hook Promise. It's an organization aimed at providing gun control education and pushing for gun safety reform. Nicole Hockley, the CEO of Sandy Hook Promise, joins me now. I was there 10 years ago, and I can't even talk about it without getting emotional anymore. I know you're not likely to see the $70 million, and your co-plaintiffs are not likely to see that kind of money. But is there some feeling, Nicole, that for all the work that you have done and the effort you've put in to this thing, at least there is a measure of accountability in this verdict? Yes, absolutely. I mean, you're right. I'm basically expecting not even to see a dime of this. What I know happened, though, on Wednesday was the jury sent a very strong message that this is not going to be tolerated. This is not going to be accepted. And there are consequences for these actions of maliciously spreading lies to harm others in order for your own personal profit. So that message, I think, is being heard. And I hope that that message continues to reverberate across hoaxers and people like Alex Jones. People say, what could be worse than losing your child at Sandy Hook? This actually made it worse. Tell us a little bit about the things that Alex Jones did that made you suffer. You know, after Dylan's murder, I wanted to grieve. I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to focus on my surviving son and my work to create positive change. What these hoaxers and Alex Jones and his followers have done is make that impossible for me to feel comfortable in public. I'm hyper vigilant. You know, I don't look at comments anymore at all, but I'm also really careful when I'm opening the mail because I've received direct threats to my house. I've received threats that make me nervous about my family and myself. And I'm just constantly in a state of awareness. I took out a very large life insurance policy on me. I have weapons in my bedroom. I'm always afraid because you never know who's around you that might believe Alex Jones's lies and think that you're a traitor, think that you're having a government payout, think your son never died or never lived and that you're just a crisis actress. It affects everything about me and makes it very hard to just be a mom who lost her son. Separate and apart from the issue of gun safety, which you've been very, very involved in over the years, there's a separate thing here, and that is about lies and conspiracy theorists and disinformation. Do you think this has a meaningful effect? Alex Jones has said he's going to appeal. He says none of you are going to see a dime. He says he quote, during the trial, said he's done being sorry. He said that he believed Sandy Hook was a hoax when he spread the lies. He said, I legitimately thought it might have been staged, and I stand by that. I don't apologize for it. Do you think this size of judgment has an impact on either Alex Jones or people like Alex Jones?
You know, I don't know if it's going to have an impact on Alex Jones. I hope so, because he's learning a very hard lesson here. And it's not, when he first talked about Sandy Hook and said it might have been a hoax, and that was roughly 2.5 hours after the shooting. I was still in the firehouse at that time. I didn't even know if my son was alive or dead, and he was already saying this. But he said this in 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, after there was overwhelming evidence that this event happened. He kept spreading the lies. That's where you're talking about, this isn't about free speech. This is about maliciously spreading lies that you know to be false. So he needs to be held account to this. Is it going to stop him? I don't know. He's such a narcissist. I don't know if he's really going to be able to grasp the effect on this, but I think for everyone else, they will stop. And I think Alex Jones might think twice before he starts spreading lies about another mass shooting. And that is really what this change is trying to do.
He used to be a standout, but now there's disinformation peddlers all over the place. Is there any learning over the last 10 years? Is there any lesson for the rest of us about what to do with these nascent liars who are out there? Because clearly they have figured out how to get an audience, right? There seems to be an audience for everybody and everybody's nonsense.
Yeah, and this is a war on disinformation right now, and we're seeing it play out on the digital screens in front of us. And I think we all have to be more critical about our thinking, not just accept what you hear, but look for like credible news sites, not these people that are just trying to stoke fear and anger and then push their product. You know, if it's got a sales message attached to it, it may be something that you need to look into a little bit further. So I think go to credible news sites only. Don't just accept what you're hearing from people like Alex Jones.
Right. And there's an important point you just made, that a lot of people are doing this for money. Alex Jones was doing it for money. He continues to actually raise money after the verdict and the judgment. He's now calling for people to donate to his legal defense fund. Nicole, thank you. It's good to see you again, and it's nice for once to talk to you about something that looks like accountability. Nicole Hockley is the CEO of Sandy Hook Promise. Her son, Dylan, was 6 years old when he was killed at Sandy Hook.